Am I the asshole for not asking my kids to come to my wedding after they RSVP'd? No. My kids were young when I left their mother. She decided that she preferred the company of another man to mine. I was heartbroken and humiliated, but I dealt fairly in the divorce. My alimony and child support were set, and I never missed one payment or a chance to spend time with my kids. Beyond our scheduled time together, I did all the dad stuff. I came to see them perform in school plays and play sports. If they wanted to talk, I made myself available. I never spoke about their mother other than to say she was a good mom and they were lucky to have her. When she remarried, my alimony ended, but obviously not the child support. She had another kid with her husband. When my kids were 18 and 17, their mom was diagnosed with cancer and it was very aggressive. She ended up needing a lot of expensive treatment and it ended her marriage. He left because of the debts and he could not care for her. I don't really know more than that. She didn't make it 5 years. I felt bad at the time, but it had nothing to do with me anymore. I had just become engaged to my fiancé. I sent my kids invitations to my wedding. It was just small in my backyard. They both said they would not be attending and that I was heartless for getting married just 2 months after their mom died. I said that I understood their grief and that I hoped they changed their minds. And then I dropped it. I got married on Saturday and my kids found out. They called me and said I was a dick for not postponing my wedding or at least calling to ask them to come. I just said that they knew the time and place and I would have made room for them and had food if they had shown up. They are both pissed at me, but I don't think I'm wrong for not changing my plans over the death of a woman I divorced over a decade ago. Edit. Sorry. I forgot and it is important. The invitations were sent before she died. #EDIT. My kids are in university. I do not live in the same city as them. From the moment their mom went into hospice care, I checked in on them every day. Sometimes a call, but usually a text. We didn't always connect, but we did connect. The invitations went out 4 months before the wedding. We planned the wedding to happen over the winter break so my kids and my new wife's children could attend. We saw the kids at Thanksgiving and we had a long cry together over their mother. They sent their RSVP just a few days after their mom passed away. I think that answers most questions. 1. The weddings was planned and invites sent before she died. 2. You'd been divorced for more than a decade. 3. You invited them formally. They declined. I get that they're kids and they've just lost their mother, which is a horrible loss. But you've done nothing wrong here. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You invited them. They declined. I don't understand why they expected you to interpret their RSVP of no as a, please come beg us to come anyway. You're not psychic. I also don't understand why they found out. You got married on the date listed on the invitation that they clearly read and responded to. They already knew because you told them. Not the asshole. They regret missing your wedding and are still raw from their mother's death, so blaming you is the only logical thing they can think of. Am I the asshole for refusing to take my ex-wife as my +1 to my son's wedding? My son is 22. My daughter is 18. 6 years ago my daughter caught my wife with another man. She told her brother, who understood what she had witnessed, then they both came and told me. I verified that it was true, then I divorced my wife. During the divorce hearing, both of them expressed a desire to stay with me, so I was given primary custody with her getting 1 week a month. She moved in with the other guy. I have done my best to cut my ex out of my life. Our communication is limited to the bare minimum needed to coordinate custody and shared expenses, and I have never talked about our relationship to my kids. Initially after the divorce she told me that our kids were giving her hell when it was her custody and that I needed to talk to them. I sat them down and asked if it was true, and they said they didn't want to stay there, but I explained that it would be best for everyone if they remained civil until they turned 18 so we wouldn't have to go back to court. I didn't get complaints after that, so it seemed to be working. When my son turned 18 he moved back in with me full-time and started college. He graduated now and is getting married in a few months. My daughter turned 18 last summer and moved back in with me full-time too. My ex-wife called me today and she started crying, saying that she was not invited to my son's wedding. Then she told me that my son hasn't talked to her in over a year. He had still been dropping in after turning 18 to visit his sister sometimes, but eventually stopped doing that too. Likewise, apparently my daughter stopped talking to her after turning 18 too. Then my ex-wife asked if I would bring her as my +1 so she could see her son getting married, but I told her if my son didn't invite her it wasn't my place to bring her. Then she started accusing me of turning them against me and threatening to take me to court. But I told her that there was no more custody agreement to take to court since both of them are above 18 and I hung up. I sat down with both of them later and asked them if they had cut contact from their mother and they both admitted it. I explained to them that they did not need to do that for my sake and I still recognize she's their mother, but they both said they had talked about it a lot and their plan was always to hold out until they were 18, but they had no desire to be around her or the other guy because she had destroyed our family. I told them that they are adults and if that's their decision I won't pressure them to change it. I was telling my sister what happened and to my surprise she said my son wasn't being fair and I should make him invite his mother to the wedding. Am I the asshole for refusing the attempt? Not the asshole. She had 6 years to figure out how to at least repair enough damage that her kids wouldn't go no contact the moment they were able. Sounds like the opposite happened. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. But your sister is. I don't know what is with people pushing family members to reconcile simply because they are blood related, but it's something that needs to stop. People are allowed to choose who they want in their lives, and just because someone helped create you doesn't mean you have to choose them. Definitely not the asshole. Your ex fucked around literally and found out. She alienated them, not you, and she's paying the price. Am I the asshole for refusing to allow my twin to be a bridesmaid at my wedding? I, 25 female, have a fraternal twin sister and am getting married next fall. We were very close growing up until high school. She was an outgoing bubbly cheerleader and I was a shy nerdy bookworm, so she ditched me for the popular kids. She didn't actively pick on me but she'd stand by with her head down and do nothing when they bullied me. She would talk to and hang out with me at home as if nothing was wrong, but when at school or at the mall where kids at our school were likely to be seen she didn't want to be seen with me. When we turned 16 she had a big bash but I didn't have any friends so didn't want to try and have a party. Our parents were making her include me but she discreetly offered me $100 to pretend I was sick. I took the money because I really didn't want to go to a party where I'd at best be ignored or worse picked on. We went to separate colleges across the country from each other. She tried to keep in touch but I ignored her because I was very traumatized at losing my sister, best friend. I would be polite to her at home during school breaks but kept her at arm's length. Anyway, I don't want her to be a bridesmaid, let alone maid of honor. My parents thought it'd be a good compromise to have her just be a regular bridesmaid. My big from my sorority will be my mo and my fellow littles, who had the same big, will be my bridesmaids. I reluctantly said she could be a guest at the wedding but not a bridesmaid. If it were entirely up to me I wouldn't invite her at all, but that would cause more drama in my family than it's worth. I told them, but what would other people think if she was seen with me? She cried, she never apologized. She just thinks because it was so long ago I should let bygones be bygones because she was young and immature, and my parents agree with her. But I had to be in therapy for years because of her. Why should I have someone as a bridesmaid who thinks they're better than me? Am I the asshole? Honestly, if you are in therapy, be strict with your parents and tell them she is uninvited. Is it really worth it to have someone like that on your happiest day yo date? Just use your shiny spine and offer her $100 to say she was sick and not come. Not the asshole. She's lucky you don't offer her $100 to pretend she's sick on your wedding day. Not the asshole. It's your wedding so you decide what you want. Also, your parents and sister need to realize actions have consequences and honestly your parents should have fixed her behavior in HS. Not the asshole. She is attending as a guest. That's all, end of story. The fact she is crying and trying to manipulate the situation without realizing how poorly she treated you growing up and to this day not having a strong relationship with you does not give her a trump card to be a bridesmaid because of DNA. Am I the asshole for wanting a child-free wedding? I, 22 female, am getting married soon. Since my fiancé and I are child-free and because we plan to have alcohol at our wedding, we decided to have a child-free wedding with the age cutoff at 21. This requirement so far has gone over well with most of our invitees. Most of our invitees don't even have kids anyway, so it doesn't make a difference for them. I do have one friend, Mel, 20 female, that I had to exclude from the wedding. After realizing that pretty much everyone else from the same social circle had been invited except her, she confronted me and demanded to know why she wasn't invited. I tried to explain that it wasn't personal and that I just didn't want to have to worry about underage drinking going on under my nose on my wedding day. But Mel kept accusing me of being a bad friend. She argued that since we had drank together before it shouldn't be such a big deal. But I told her that it was different since we were both underage at the time. I was 20 and she was 18–19-ish when we started drinking together. Now as an adult, I feel like I have a responsibility to prevent underage drinking, and as the bride, I feel like I have the right to have a child-free wedding. Mel is unconvinced and keeps talking bad about me behind my back to our mutual friends and making snarky comments about me feeling superior. I don't see why she can't just relax and let me have my wedding day the way I like. So Reddit, AITA? It's weird that you would consider someone that is a year younger than you a child. Yet think that you are old enough to get married? So close to being a child? You are the asshole. You wouldn't have to worry about underage drinking. The only person with that concern would be the barman. Having a child-free wedding and having no guests under 21 are different things, as 18–21-year-olds are adults. You're technically in the right because you're wedding your rules, but definitely you are the asshole. I would never exclude one friend from my close friend group because they're slightly younger. You feel like you have a responsibility to prevent underage drinking. Get a grip. You sound so condescending to your friend.